Hello and welcome back to Matt Hayes' Tottenham Blog and to our first match reaction of the season. Tottenham are back in the Premier League. We're back in winning ways with a 4-1 victory against Southampton. Now, because I was working today, I've only just rewatched the game, finished about 10 minutes ago, and I have to say I was very, very pleased with everything that I saw. We're going to run through the game. We're going to run through a few individual performances that I think deserve a massive shout out on either side of the wing back for different reasons, and of course Dier and Kulusevski, who was absolutely sensational today. Before I do get into that, if you are new to the channel, please do make sure to smash that like button on the stream down below and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new for more content like this, plus news keeping you right up to date with all of Tottenham's transfer business throughout the rest of this window closing in about 26 days. And look, let's dive straight into it. Tottenham were sensational, absolutely sensational. And if it wasn't for the sheer joy that I saw across Twitter all day, I probably wouldn't have been able to convince myself to rewatch the game. But I'm so glad that I did, because there were so many performances there today that were absolutely sensational. And look, Kulusevski got man of the match, and I don't think there's anybody out there who could argue with that and who could debate that he didn't deserve it. Maybe other players you could say deserve to be in with a shout, but the award had to go to Kulusevski. Matt is saying, if you get a notification saying I disliked, I swear it was an accident. Matt, I appreciate you staying up to watch. I will say that. We got Diego, Spencer, channel member Porav. We got Mick, Badril, Alexander, Premium, and Robert in the chat as well. Thank you very much. Don't worry, I will be done by match today. I will be done by match of the day because I'm going to watch that myself as well. Christopher, channel member, great to see you in the chat. Look, I'm going to start from the back and work my way up through the team to talk about some of those individual performances and some players that I thought really earned the starting position against Chelsea next week with the way they played. With Hugo Lloris, didn't really have to do too much throughout the game. With the goal that was scored, there's nothing he can really do about that. I mean, it's just a little bit lucky that the ball from, was it Gineppo on the left hand side? He didn't mean to pick out Ward-Prowse at the edge of the box, and it came back to him. And when Lloris is travelling that way across his goal and Ward-Prowse sits the other way into the ground, looping up into the net, there's nothing that Lloris could have done about that. So I wouldn't at all hold that against him. But towards the end of the game, when we started taking our foot off the gas and we started allowing Southampton possession, because 5-10 minutes left, our fans start to olay the passes. You know, you're going to you're not going to be fighting and really pushing for a fifth goal. And we allowed a few chances for Southampton. There was one in particular, a ball played down that left channel, and Aribo got onto the ball. And he's been pressed by a defender at one side. He managed to get the shot off towards the far corner, and Reece got down very, very smartly, got a strong left hand to it, and managed to keep it out. And that's kind of what you want for a keeper. And with the way we're hoping this season is going to go for Spurs, we're hoping that Lloris won't have to be the man of the match for us in many situations. When he is called into action, we hope it's very rare, and we hope that he is able to come up with the saves like he was today. There was 3 or 4 towards the end of the game, and obviously not game changing. It wasn't the difference between 3 points or 1, but he still kept the ball out of the back of the net, and that's what you need. Dark Sung G with the super chat. Thanks very much for that. I appreciate it. So this is the Conte effect. Within 1 year, he made Dier and Sessegnon score, which is massive. Kulusevski continuing his form from last season. We're plus 3 goal difference and 2 points ahead of Liverpool, which is perfect. I love the commitment to always calling on Liverpool. Look, 2 points ahead of them already. It's not a bad thing. I mean, we're not going to say that the season is over, but Aaron, come on. James told me what you said, by the way. Ethelson, good to see you in the chat. Matt says Salis' own goal after the red card last game was sweet. It was. Moving into the back line and to Emerson Royal, I saw a comment there a second ago. Yeah, so Keith says, I had my doubts about Royal, but I'm not sure after a very good performance. And I don't think Emerson's was a typical good performance. I don't think he was, whipping in really dangerous balls. He wasn't, testing the keeper very often. He wasn't absolutely perfect defensively, but I saw a massive improvement today in Emerson, mainly in his positional awareness on the front foot. Kind of all he really offered us at times last season was just that tactical side of his game where he stays out as wide as possible on the right-hand side. So when we switch that ball from the left, he has time, he has space, and he really, really stretches the opposition. But there was a few times today when he made very, very smart runs when that positioning and that awareness when we were attacking was just a lot better than what it has been recently. And for that goal, the Salisu own goal, it was a brilliantly timed run. I suppose, going back to the very start, carrying that ball high up the pitch, laying that ball off to Kulusevski, but then timing that run out, kind of curving it a little bit to get away onto his left foot. As a defender, you don't really have to do that very often, but he had that know-how. And he forced that mistake from Salisu, which gave us a cushion and from that moment, Southampton never came back into the game. It was even better that we were then able to go on and get the fourth goal straight after that. But I was impressed with Emerson. I saw an improvement, and I'm sure there's a number of different factors, as Dark Sun G said, with the Conte effect that obviously plays a big part. With the competition he now has there, with Doherty still in the squad, bringing in Jed Spence and Lucas Moura being played there in pre-season. There's a number of different factors, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I think Emerson is the answer to our right back problems. I'm not going to say that all of last season his poor performances I forgot him because of how good he was today. It's promising, it's an improvement, but he still has to make this consistent, because we had moments last season when we said he had improved and when we were happy with how he played. But today was a very, very good performance from him, and I think maybe if there is a slight difference between now and those instances last season, it's that what he did today, it wasn't just a good performance where he had the rub of the green, where his passes were coming off. It was intelligence. It was knowing what he needs to do within this system. That was a lot better than it's ever been before, and that for me is very, very promising. Into right centre back and Christian Romero. I mean, what more can we say? What more can we say about Romero? It wasn't a classic performance from him today, but he started this season right where he left off last season, flying into challenges. Absolutely no regard for the welfare and the well-being of opposition. There's one really, really rough challenge he went in, I think, on Oriol Romeu, which did lead to a free kick for Southampton, which came to nothing. But he is just so dominant. He really is an absolute monster. Kind of the one criticism, one concern that we maybe have in the past is his inability in the air, and it definitely cost us at times last season. The first one I can think of is when we lost 1-0 at Turf Moor, that header from Ben Mee. Romero was supposed to be marking him, but 4 out of 6 aerial duels won today. Very heavily involved in possession. I'll speak a bit more about Davies in a minute, but I think we did kind of rely a little bit more on Davies to be that attacking outlet for us, which I was kind of surprised by. But Romero, 8 out of 11 accurate long balls, 85% pass accuracy, 81 touches. He was heavily involved. 1 interception, 2 clearances. It's what we've come to expect of Christian Romero, and I just can't wait to have another year of that man in a Spurs jersey. Jackson G says Blues and Gooners won by luck. In my opinion, they look poor. I think Arsenal looked very, very good for the first 20 minutes, maybe 25, but as the game kind of went on, Palace started growing more and more into it, and in the end it was a lucky own goal that kind of took the game away from the Eagles. But 3 points is 3 points, and at this stage of the season, I wouldn't mind if we were playing poorly as long as we were winning games, but I do think that Arsenal and Chelsea have a lot of work to do. Robert Yee says Royal has intuitive positioning that can't be taught, but utilising it. This isn't a one-match feel-good point. I've long before said this. I agree. I think the defensive side of his game is kind of underrated to some extent, because we need more from him on the other side, but he definitely does have the kind of uncoachables in some extent, but it's about getting the rest out of him, which has proved to be quite difficult. Into centre back and Eric Dier, it wasn't a standout performance. It wasn't a game where, I wouldn't be looking at him as a contender for man of the match or as someone who was the difference in this game. But ultimately, he did what he had to do. And I never appreciated it as much until I went to the Leicester game back in May, how much Eric Dier commands that defence and how much he keeps everybody in check, and he runs that back line. He really does. And I think with how solid and secure we looked back there, even though from the angle that you get to watch on TV, you mightn't really give him as much credit and you mightn't put it down to him. I'm sure he played a very, very big part in that, and he deserves the credit for it. He's a player who, a lot of us wanted to see out of Spurs, but he's come in and he's doing very well under the tutelage of Antonio Conte, and Conte loves him. There's a reason we haven't gone all out to try and get a centre back this summer, and I think Eric Dier's performances are good enough reason for him to continue to be that man at the back. And to left centre back with Ben Davies, and one of my first observations when I was watching back this game was how much Tottenham really, really relied on Ben Davies to be that attacking outlet. And for me, Christian Romero is better in possession and is better on the ball than Ben Davies. But we asked a lot of Ben Davies today, and it was quite surprising, because from from the perspective of us fans and what we've kind of been A, expecting, but B, kind of really wanting from this transfer window was to heavily improve in that left centre back role, whether it was a Bastoni or a Vardiol or a Torres. We've spoken about all the names way too many times. But today showed to me beyond any doubt that Antonio Conte really, really trusts Ben Davies in possession. And Davies has been an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 for Tottenham for quite a while, but never quite hitting that 10 out of 10. And that's a compliment. It's not a criticism. He's Mr. Consistent, and he was absolutely fantastic again today. 70 passes with 87% accuracy. He was 5 out of 6 accurate long balls, but a lot of those were quick zip passes down the line to Ryan Sessegnon or into the feet of Bentancur or Højbjerg or Harry Kane. And his importance to this side really cannot be underrated. Matt, don't worry, I'll be over more than once for a game this season. Ivan with the $2 super chat, thanks very much. Ivan says Sess was my fave, absolutely amazing, and I was in awe. I was in awe of Ryan Sessegnon, and unrecognizable is the word I used on Twitter with Ryan Sessegnon's performance today, mainly with his end product, but all around he's a completely different man. And Lyle Thomas reported today that Sessegnon went during the summer. He went for a 2-week training camp with a boxing conditioner called Dan Lawrence. He went on a 2-week training camp in Portugal and returned to Spurs training in incredible shape. That's the shape that he's carried into this season. And look, I don't know if I'd say that it was a concern, but it wasn't the biggest concern for me that Sessegnon didn't have the build and he wasn't physical enough. He wasn't strong enough, but it's something that he has absolutely fixed. He really has. He's in incredible shape. I thought his end product, he was, without being perfect, his decision making and quality was a lot better than we saw last season. And as We Are Tottenham TV put it in my Twitter replies, he scored 16 goals in a league season for Fulham. He knows where the back of the net is, but we haven't really been able to see that at Tottenham, and it's a very, very different situation where at Fulham he was the man. Whether he played left wing back, right wing, he was the man. But it's just not that case at Spurs. And the header today, brilliant timing of the run. He actually, we look at some Twitter reactions in a bit, but he actually said himself he mistimed the run a few minutes earlier, and he had to get that one right, and he certainly did. The disallowed goal that he had in the second half, an absolutely immense finish on his right foot, running at pace, first time curling it into the far corner. It was absolutely incredible. And like I said on Twitter, if Harry Kane or Heung-min Son did that, we'd be waxing lyrical about that for weeks. But it's Sessegnon on his weak foot. It was a brilliant finish, and a real shame that it was ruled out. Ivan as well says his finish on the offside was better than Son's 100%. It was an incredible finish, and I'm kind of annoyed that it didn't count, but ultimately it doesn't matter too much because Sess had a great game, and we went in and got those 3 points. Into the middle, and I'll do Højbjerg and Bentancur together because I thought they were both just rock solid. Again, maybe like Eric Dier, I wouldn't really class either of those as the standout player. I think they both did what we've come to expect of them at this point, and maybe they're a victim of their own success in that when they have these performances, we don't really, we don't talk about it so much because it's just what we're used to with them. Where Højbjerg was the kind of general in there, and so many occasions Spurs played fantastic, quick, zippy first touch football to get out of tight spaces to make it past that Southampton press, and Bentancur was involved every single time. Every time he just works so well under pressure. And I was speaking about on our stream, was it last night, about the potential signing of Destiny Udogie and how we haven't replaced so many key players from that 2016 squad. We, with Moussa Dembele, had a press-resistant midfielder that really got us out of so many situations. And I'm not for a second saying Bentancur is anywhere near the level of Moussa Dembele, but he is press-resistant, and it gets us out of so many situations. And when you're playing a team like Southampton, maybe it won't come off as much, because as much as they're pressing, when they come to Spurs, they're not really committing everybody forward. So when you make it past, the press of Armstrong and Aribo, there's still 8 players kind of left behind you. But when we start playing the Man Cities and the Liverpools, when Bentancur is like that, when he bypasses that press, the whole field will open up ahead of him because of how many players those opposition will commit forward. And with Bentancur, Kulusevski, every player that we're really speaking about here, the fact that this is how they've played on day one, on game day one, it can only get better from here. And that is what is really exciting me the most. And that applies to no one more than Dejan Kulusevski, who was utterly outrageous. That man is so talented, 22 years of age. He's only been in this league for 7 months, 7 months. He's no player has more assists than him in the Premier League in 2022. He got another one today, and a fantastic finish off his left foot. And to be honest, we're at the point where when he gets in that position and he puts the ball on his left foot, there's only one outcome. You know where it's going to go. You know it's going to end up in the back of the net. And it was a brilliant finish. One of the most impressive things for me is the consistency of his crossing. It's just otherworldly. Every time he gets that ball on his left foot in the right flank, you know it's going into a dangerous position. You know it's going somewhere. It's going into that corridor of uncertainty in between the defense and the goalkeeper. And that cross for Sessegnon's goal, pinpoint on his head, but there's a few more just put into such fantastic positions. Accurate passes, 36 out of 39, so 92% pass accuracy, 3 key passes, 3 crosses, 1 big chance created, an 8.4 statistical rating, which is by far the best on the pitch today. I could sit here for half an hour and talk about Kulusevski, but I'm conscious of people wanting to watch match today. He was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. Son, I'd call it an opening day of the season performance from Son. It was nothing special. It's not a concern. He's still going to be one of the best players in the league, one of the best players in the world this season. I've no doubt about that. Got the assist as well, which was good to see. Would have had another assist for Sessegnon's disallowed goal had that not been offside. But maybe at times took a bit too much out of the ball. There's that one chance he had towards the end of the first half where he ended up carrying the ball kind of across the right hand, kind of across the face of the goal and blazing it over the bar. But he'll get better. As KM says, he was good all round except his finishing. Derksen G says, it's nice to have a spicy bench. We can sub yellow carded players with quality players in their place. Imagine if Skip and Richarlison joins the bench. And that's one thing that I do want to point out. The players that weren't on the pitch today, the players that weren't in the team, it's quite crazy. Harry Kane, probably similar to Son, to be honest. He didn't really set the world alight. There's a few moments with those kind of fancy flicks and the kind of balls around the corner where the only way I can describe it is it kind of felt like his passing was in mid-season form. There's one ball he got kind of on the right-hand side. He tried to whip it around that defence towards Son. And it was cut out, but that form that we tend to see from him January, February, March time, it's already creeping in now. And that is the importance of a Conte pre-season when you're starting the season in mid-season form. You know, we saw with, I didn't get to see the Chelsea game today, but everyone's saying that they were struggling. You know, they're a bit leggy. They're still trying to get up to speed. I think we saw it a lot with Crystal Palace on Friday evening when they didn't have the best pre-season, and you could see that with how slowly they started against Arsenal. But we've had a fantastic pre-season, maybe not in terms of result and in terms of performance, but getting minutes into the legs and really, really upping the fitness of that team. And it's already proving very, very advantageous. Perisic come off the bench, did well, affected the game quite a bit from down that left-hand side, a good few crosses. I think we're already starting to see his trademark cross where he just brings the ball on his left foot, kind of stabs at it and stands it up towards the back post. I think Kulusevski and Kane could benefit a lot from those this season. And with Longley, Basuma, Doherty and Lucas only on for a couple of minutes, Basuma had an incredible effort from range in added time, got just wide of Gavin Bazunu's goal. It would have been a brilliant way to cap off the day if that went in, but really good to see the debuts for that trio. And then you're left with Davinson Sanchez, Jed Spence, Brian Hill, Richarlison, Oliver Skip. Didn't even get on the pitch. It's a very, very good start for Tottenham. A very, very promising start, and I'm sure it's only going to get better from here. I want to take a quick look at some of the reaction on Twitter to this one. And unsurprisingly, it's a lot of joy. It's a lot of happiness with Chris Cowlan's there. If anyone wants to go check that out. Last word on Spurs, talking about Ryan Sessegnon and getting his goal. He said, if I hadn't scored that, I think he would have killed me. I think talking about Dejan Kulusevski. There was a moment earlier and I arrived too late. I couldn't arrive too late the next time. I want to learn from Perisic. He has helped me a lot already. I think we all know, to be honest, that Perisic is going to be a fantastic mentor to Ryan Sessegnon, but he's already talking about that. And I think we saw it in his game, how he's already benefiting from working with the Croatian. Eric Dier has said there's definitely a different feeling to one I've experienced before here due to the amount of signings before pre-season, experiencing being in a group with such a strong squad already built. And that I like as well a lot that the players are quite often echoing the sentiment of the fans. That's the excitement that we have with those signings coming in, and you can see that togetherness, and we can kind of sense even around the stadium from people I've been speaking to today. There's just it's a little bit different. There's something a little bit special. I think we all kind of feel what's brewing at Spurs, and we expect this to be a huge season for us, and it's just so good to see the players feeling the same way. I'm Ben Davies here, Bozo Football, saying that Davies won more defensive aerial duels and made more clearances than any other Tottenham player against Southampton. That doesn't even take into consideration how good and effective he was on the ball. I don't speak French. We'll keep going. Got some tactics there if anyone wants to check that out at Tactical Trends 1. We won't go into that just yet. Today's 4-1 victory is Tottenham's biggest opening day win in 30 years. This is Tottenham's first Premier League home game at 3 p.m. on a Saturday in 973 days. A brilliant record. I don't know how we managed it. First goal was a Spurs player. That's not right. He scored many times for us. Let's see if we got anything. I don't know what that is. I'm loving the pictures in the stadium. There, Kulusevski's stats, absolutely immense. Really, really, again, mid-season performance from Kulusevski with how he just settled into the new season today. It was absolutely brilliant. Conte explaining why no new signings made a starting 11. I think our squad was really poor last season. To reach a place in Champions League was a big achievement today. I prefer to start with the same. I was interested with the fact that Tottenham didn't have any new starters in that team, but I suppose ultimately those are the players that earned us top 4 last season. It's up to other players to displace them in that team, and I think it's going to be quite difficult for some to do that. I was scrolling through Twitter before I came on here. There's some really good stuff, but it seems to have refreshed itself, so we can't. A lot of praise for Emerson Royal. I think it was here. Yeah, it was around here that that I was looking at. There's the Sessegnon code again. Look at that. Look at that. I'm going to be completely honest. I was berating the Arsenal fans last night at Selhurst Park when they were chanting, "We're top of the league. We're top of the league." I was laughing at them. I was berating them, but you know what? I knew that I would be the exact same, and I know that last season I was the exact same when we were top after 3 days. But I mean, you're never not going to enjoy seeing your team top of the Premier League. I know it's the later on in the season, the more important it is, of course, but to see us top of the table and then a red arrow beside Arsenal in second is just a little bit more special. It is a little bit more special. Let's see what else we've got on Twitter. Kulusevski, again, echoing the sentiments of the fans. I love how this team is playing because we create a lot of chances. That's down to you, Decky. And the fans are enjoying it, and I like playing. I've missed playing. It is so nice to be back in front of the fans and the family, and I really enjoyed it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think today was Kulusevski's first home Premier League goal, first home goal for Tottenham. And you can see how much it meant to him. I don't know if you can see the picture in my thumbnail as well, though. He was absolutely ecstatic when that ball went into the back of the net. And honestly, no player deserved it more than he did. The Premier League leaders, come on, you Spurs. Conte said, today we have seen 7 months of work. We are improving game by game. I'm very happy. I think we thought he was going to leave, or some people thought he was going to leave at the end of last season. A fantastic day. It really, really was a brilliant day for Spurs. And next up is a much bigger challenge and a much more difficult game when we face Chelsea next Sunday. But I think it's a challenge that this squad is going to be relishing. Whereas in January, it was a challenge that we really just would have preferred not to have had to deal with, playing them 3 times in quick succession. But now I think it's a challenge that this team will be relishing, and one that I'm kind of relishing as well, because Everton or Chelsea, from what I've heard, were quite leggy, quite sluggish against Everton today. And if they do that next week, I think we will capitalise it. I think we will pounce. Darkson G says, Dier and Cess are tied with Salah and Nunes. Look, this is the brilliant part of the season where you have, these Eric Dier level on goals with Mohamed Salah. If it's still the same at the end of the season, I think something will have gone horrifically wrong or horrifically right. But it's a very, very long season. We're 1 out of 38, 138th of the way there. But we got 3 points, and that's all you can ask for from a single game of football. And we did it with that extra added flair and that extra bit of spice. and that extra brilliance, which is always a brilliant way to start the season. If you have enjoyed this stream, if you have enjoyed the game today, please do make sure to hit that like button down below. We're on 96 likes with 275 watching, so I'm sure we can get that up to 125. That'll be our target, 125 likes. If you are new to the channel as well, please do make sure to subscribe down below. I'm being so kind that I'm wrapping the stream up now so you can all go and watch Match of the Day with a clear conscience. So if that's not good enough for you, I don't know what is. But I really appreciate everyone who's tuned in. Nearly 1,000 of you just for me to kind of talk aimlessly. Ivan says Royal is currently top of assists in the league. Let's keep it that way. Let's keep it that way. Matt, go and get yourself some sleep. Thanks everyone. Oh, Match of the Day started. I apologise. I've missed the start of it as well though. But we'll all go and enjoy the rest of it. But thanks everyone for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. But from me, for now, and as always, thank you so much for watching.